Hello, hello. Good evening. If you notice, there's no guest tonight. There's no guest. No, let's say no guest in studio. And that's because tonight I'm going to need everybody who's out there tuned in. I need your input. Tonight we're going to talk about, is the American empire falling apart? And what should we do as people to intercede, um, if possible, to intercede, working all together on this. So this is going to be very important. If you've never invited anyone else to Moments with Vivacious, I need you to text somebody the link, and tell them to come join in. I am looking for the comments to be flowing tonight because there's nobody, right? I need y'all to get in, get your information. We're going to talk as soon as we get back. See you in a moment. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious, a freedom ride where we the people gather to build ourselves, our family, our community, and our nation. For the sound of America for Progress has reached critical mass. Understanding that we must put aside our differences to focus on the greater good. This is a place of collaboration to rebuild and restore our nation. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious. Hello, hello. I hope everybody's ready to talk and send those comments. Tonight, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe now. Like, because you'll get into the conversation, and then forget to like, okay? And don't forget to press the little bell so you'll be notified whenever we come on air. We are going to start up in the month of August with this is June, July, August, yes, with Saturday night and possibly some Sundays. And let me tell you right now, next week we're going to have Mr. Scott Gibson. However, I'll be in New Orleans for Essence, so we're going to pre-record. And I hate to pre-record. Let me not say the word hate. It's unfortunate that we are pre-recording Scotty, because I know he's going to have great conversation. But we're going to be looking forward to you guys tuning in. Both Scott and I will be reviewing the comments. Well, I won't review them until the next week, until the next Wednesday, but Scotty will review them immediately and send his answers to your comment. Again, I apologize for that, but we can't miss. We got to stay on this because America is a democracy. And a democracy is ran by the people. And we're not going to spend our time on Vivacious Speaks talking about what everybody's doing wrong and isn't this horrible. Here on Vivacious Speaks, we're going to put our differences together and find out what's a good answer for all of us to move forward. Because even tomorrow on the debate, for those of us who may watch, it's going to be everyone talking about the next and nobody talking about us. Are you aware of what you need in your community? Are you aware what we need in this country? And this is where I am hoping that this conversation takes us. It takes us into conversations in our homes, in our communities, even writing letters to our political leaders. When we become that voice that they can't ignore, then they'll become our true leaders. leaders. Then they're going to be the voice of the people that run this nation. But we have to raise our voice. I remember watching the movie Selma. And in watching the movie Selma, first it was like, oh, let those Negroes go. That's what they called us in those days. Let those Negroes go. Let those Negroes go. And when we hit their pockets, good evening, Nola Reeds. And when we hit their pockets with that boycott, we got their attention. And President Kennedy said, what is that nigga doing down there? Who is that? Well, he said the word, I'm saying it. Who is that? They had to give us some attention. And that's when things changed. But when we became lackadaisical, when we became complacent, when we became just wanting everything that others have, and when civil rights was watered down with other things, they began to take all the things that blood was shed away. But right now I want to take the opportunity to say that Vivacious Speaks intends to change the culture of this generation. And I said Vivacious Speaks and not vivacious, because we're going to stimulate the people of this nation to be prepared for what is coming. And I'm grateful to everybody who's listening. And again, I'm going to be looking for comments. Thank you, Nola Reeds. So let's talk with start with the four major things that is believed to have destroyed the Roman Empire. Number one, the failing of the educational system. Is our educational system failing? Well, let's see. In my research today, we were 100. We had 100%. We were, what I want to say, we were number one in the world in education. But as of 2020, we became 22nd in the world, with Germany leading. Yeah, we the 22nd from number one. So it's education. Moral decay. And when we think of moral decay, we can think of the decline of compassion. The empathy and compassion. The decline, the disregard for integrity, and the lack of accountability. Do anybody notice anything yet? So it's moral decay, political, I think it's finances, the finance, deterioration of finances. What nation takes healthcare and make it a business? Can we stop right here and talk about this? So it's moral decay, education, finances, we went from, let's say Atlanta had Grady, New Orleans Charity Hospital, Cook County in Chicago, where anybody from anywhere around this nation could walk into those hospitals, especially people that lived in that state and receive the best health care ever needed. Most people in all three of those cities that I named, even with insurance, if they were very, very ill, they went to the state hospital first. And once they were stable, then they went maybe to a private plush hospital. Because our people's health was the most important thing. Because if people are not healthy, if people are not healthy, they can't work, they won't survive. They won't have strength to live. So we took that away. And now everybody's pushing for Medicaid for everyone like it's a great thing. Medicaid covers nothing. And if you ever had to get approval from Medicaid for patient's care, you would know it's a big fight. And the patient don't get half of what they need. If the doctor wants to give one medicine, the insurance company or Medicaid and Medicaid is much less than the insurance company, has to approve it first. And most times they'll come back and say, you have to give these medicines before you give that medicine. Patients have been discovered to have tumors, and the insurance company said we must try other treatment first. And unfortunately, this is real. The patient died before they get the surgery. The doctor requested in the beginning to save their lives. I don't want to make anybody sad. I don't want to make anybody sad. But I think that's the hardest spot that we're in as a nation. It's almost like we have sick care and not health care. We have care for only when we get sick, and then it's so limited. Anybody have any opinion on health care? But that's one of the things when we made health care money. When we when for finances, I want to talk about this also. For finances, when we are in 34, I think it's 34.5 trillions of dollars we've borrowed, but the national debt is $145.8 trillion. Our net is $269 trillion. So we're worth like maybe $112.8 trillion. It's a far cry from where we are. Every year we add on to our debt without paying it. America right now is living on a credit card. They're living on like a person living off their credit card. They're surviving on credit. And to be honest, let me be straightforward. I don't understand all of this about all of the ins and outs about national debt. But when you look at the store, you see the prices of gas. If you thought you were doing well, so you bought you a car. Nola Reed said America is in shambles. And Nola Reed, that's why I went back to study the fall of the Roman Empire. Because we just setting ourselves up for that. the price of gas. I went 3 turkey necks for those of us who eat turkey necks. 3 smoked turkey necks in a pack was over $10. To buy food, if you're gonna buy healthy food for your family, you almost need a second job. Again, health insurance costs, health costs is through the roof. And I just want to say that I believe we're gonna must begin to take care of ourselves, because all the government programs that was created to help for us to depend on them, and we fell into it and we depend on it, it's gonna fall. Those of us who work and we find a place where we need some help, we get nothing. Look how many people are being turned down for Social Security. I have a friend who obviously, it's obvious to everyone that person cannot take care of themselves. They've worked all of their lives and they can't get anything. What do we do as a people? What do we do as a people? And I don't want to sound down. I don't want to take us down. I want us to. Drita Lewis says, "Hello there, hey Drita, loving you, girl. I miss you a lot." We're gonna have to come up with the answer. The answer have to come from us. How do we begin to take care of ourselves? I remember, and I say this all the time, when I was a young girl, that I love you too so much. When I was a little girl, we supported one another. Daddy was a single parent, and Miss Mary will always be a great part of my life. I saw her many days when I came home from school. Hi, Keisha. How are you? I saw her many days when I came home from school. We worked together. Nobody was hungry and you couldn't go next door to get something to eat. Now we don't even know those people. And another thing we talked about was people, and this is a big subject too, and if you have an opinion, and I'm saying things because we have to begin to talk about it in order to fix our world. Because we all have young babies in our lives. Nobody I love more than my grandkids. I love my daughter too, Nola. I love her. But what the world is going to be like for them. What is it going to be like for them? What is wrong? Somebody said, he's still living with his mom, or she's still living with her mom. Well, we better start learning how to live with each other again. Because look at rent. I have a friend, I was talking to her just a few nights ago, who I know is okay. But she's like, girl, I gotta get out of this house. This rent. So what as we as a people are gonna do? The things that we're building, spending our money on. The cities continuously in the state put up new housing. And the people can't afford the housing they have. Hello? What moves will we make as a people? How will we unify and be that voice? Look, with the people that's running for president, and God forbid if that other person wins, we better get a voice. Hello? Because I'm telling you, these people gonna snatch everything out of people to erase that debt. Because we're not the richest people in the world anymore. And what would the world be like 20 years from now? How do we, I'm asking questions, I'm looking for answers. How do we help our children grow? When I think of a 17-year-old now, Jazzy Bell says read Project 2025. When um, we have a 17 now and a 17-year-old then, Nola Reed said we have to stop being sensitive so we can have the needed conversations. Okay, okay, Nola, forget sensitivity tonight. What's one thing that you need to say? Because we need to say it, and we need to hear it. I had a conversation yesterday about the same thing I'm about to talk about now. The 17-year-old. When we were coming up and we graduated from high school, you were able to say you were finished. And you were finished because you had to do something. You had to build your life. You didn't have to get out your parents' house. You had to get a job, go to college, move up, independent, take care of yourself, contribute something to the house because you were finished. Today, when children graduate out of high school, they just open their hands bigger. Will we support our children? Sure we will. But how do we bring about the independence? Because the financial state of America will not be the same in 20 years. And another thing, a friend of mine and we were talking today, we had a great conversation. Another thing is we have to begin to put our money where our mouth is. Our money really where our lives are. To begin to build a future for ourselves. We can talk about what they're doing with the money in the nation all we want to. But if we don't start doing something different, we have become a lot of times, and this is our environment, like when we talk about our environment. We talk about what we know. So she was saying, why we gotta have all those purses with somebody's name on it? I said, girl, we would have a down payment on something big. Just on the purses. I believe that one thing, and I'll start with economy. I believe that healthcare ought to go back to state healthcare. Medicaid for everyone is not going to work. First of all, you have to apply for it. You have to keep it up. If you're in and out of jobs, you can qualify one time and can't qualify the next time. I think we should go back to state hospitals, because at state hospitals, we can everybody get quality care. I think that That's going to be the only way that everybody can have quality health. And I did mention education. I'm going along, um, waiting for participation in the conversation. So, so I don't know which way you guys want to go with this. So I believe with education, we should go back to basic education. And okay, here you go, Nola. I think that education should begin at home. That your children should be able to read when they go to kindergarten. I think that we should begin to discipline our children. 5-year-olds that get to say what they feel and how they think it should go. How in the world you know anything should go 5, 7, 8? I had an 8-year-old come in and I was fighting adults. I said none of the adults fought you back. So much have become acceptable, and I think that the bottom line to making our educational system a better system is going to first start with discipline. Jazzy Bell says, I agree, summer isn't a break from learning. And you're right, Jazzy. And you know what else? Buy your children some books and make sure they have some time home with their books and take that internet away. I think anybody from the 3rd grade up should have to read a book and write a report. Thanks for bringing that up, Jazzy. Read a book and write a report for the summer. And I think parents that missed it, because this has been going down for a while, if you don't have your GED, go back and get your GED. If you need refresher, go back and get refresher. A lot of the things that they have people going to college and getting degrees for we just went to work. We learned the job and went to work. So a lot of that is just costing so much money. And I have a friend, we're LPNs, and she said, I want to go back to school. I said, look, you have talent. If you want to go back to school, that's a good thing. But do not, you just got the student loans forgiven. Don't go make some more student loans. Do your talent. Do your God-given free talent. Sell your stuff, barter your stuff, make your stuff, and raise the money to go back to school. I was talking to my godson the other day, and he was saying, Nanny, we well, where I'm from, you call your godmother Nanny. Nanny, and that's where my name came from on Facebook. Nanny, because I was saying the people in the family who have money, we thinking of this thing that's going to raise money and go through the family and go through generations. That hard thing that, like Nola was talking, I said, first of all, we got to learn to get along. And some people are going to have to know you might not be in charge of everything. And another thing is, if you're trying to put it together and you want everybody to put up their money, you can't get with a few people and decide this is what it's going to be and then think everybody else is going to put up with their money for that. We have to first learn how to meet up together again. And this is our big family. You know, about my brothers and sisters and our children, my daddy's children, and our children, we do well. But some things happen through the years, you know, with the family till, you know, with everybody. So, that's gonna be the first thing. The first thing we have to do is learn how to get along. I'm not apologizing for saying that. We have to know, no matter what you think of a family member, you should see yourself in that, because y'all are each other. Y'all are a unit. And another thing is, everybody not gonna agree. Everybody's not gonna agree, so you have to learn how to take a little bit of what you don't like and give a little bit of what you like. And when you get a whole, it'll be all right. I was having a disagreement of how things should be with a coworker, and I was like, if she do this today, but when I got back, what she did, she took half, and half and did what she wanted, put the other half and did what I wanted, and I said that'll work. And that's what we have to learn how to do. We have to learn how to make it work together. Because when we're a family, we talk about a family, family ended up in family, and I haven't left education. Okay? So, family, when we take care of each other, it would be amazing to see if families live close to each other and we share food, we're able to share houses again. We're going to be able to take more time to take care of our children. And give them time and teach those children to respect again. Adults have to earn respect. Well, how about us teaching our children that no matter what anybody else is, you stay right? That's what my daddy taught us. No matter what everybody else doing, you be caught right. If that adult is ugly, it don't make you cute because you act like them. So when we learn to respect the game, when we discipline our children and set boundaries again, and please don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everybody's not doing that. But how about the people that are? I don't see no comments. I don't see comments to say, well, your child, you can do this. I know somebody that's on this line right now that have a great regimen, what they do for their children. The school looks for them to come help other children because their children are so smart. We have to share those things. And one thing I've learned from my daughter and her kids, how important reading is. Reading and understanding. And one thing I also spoke to her dad about, he said, I hope this place helped my child. And we went on talking and talking. And just to get to the point that I'm trying to make, I said, well, Dad, you have to be the man in the house. Pick a night, Thursday night. Everybody have to put their cell phones down. Everybody have to be home. And everybody have to talk to one another. Make a family night again. And talk to one another. and get to know one another and learn from one another and learn one another. What does that have to do with education? Discipline. An undisciplined mind can't learn. When you're so stuck on a phone, you sitting in a class because you want to know what else is going on Facebook. Why these children have all that? But anyway, how can you learn? And I'm hoping we're thinking about these things, you quiet people. I'm hoping that we're thinking about these things. We don't even have savings anymore, y'all. Most people, I think I read, I'm not sure, that about 15 to 20%, I'm going to say 25, round it off. 25% of Americans have enough money to last a month if they lose their job. Not only we're not living above our means, we just don't have means, a lot of us. But I believe that this nation is selfish and it operates above its means. Why would a nation have to be at $34 trillion worth of debt? Why? When we were the richest nation in the world. We have to begin to make some tough decisions. And we can't stay quiet. I was expecting, I just thought it would be, I just thought response would be rolling and rolling. Do I need to talk about someone else? Something else that I've gone the wrong direction? What are you guys thinking? Hello? Is anybody still out there? Have I upset someone or bored us all? So we've talked about education and we've talked about money. Can we talk about moral decay? What? Let me ask this question, see if I can get a response. What would you like for those with young children or grandchildren? What would you like to see this country be like in 10 years for your family, for your children and your grandchildren? I would like to see us still on the map. This is one thing I pray God I never see. Thank you, Henrietta. Henrietta, I know you're gonna give me the real. Am I going in the wrong direction? Should I change my direction? Henrietta gonna tell me. Don't wait till tomorrow, Henrietta. You can write it tonight. So we could get people talking. Like, what can we do to make it better? We can't depend on them. It has to come from the people. We have to become a voice in this nation that change things around, that make things different. We have to come to a voice and say, we're not taking this anymore. So let me ask this, for those of us with children or grandchildren in school. What would you like to see different about the school system, the educational system in America? No, I I wonder that too, Nola. Nola says, I wonder if this country will even be a country in 10 years. Nola, I have no doubt that it won't if we don't do something. We're holding the answers in our hand. And I think the bottom line, the two things I think, if somebody else think, Jazz said read Project 2025. Jazz does Project 2025 address any of these issues? But I believe that that we have to become a voice that people can't ignore. Henrietta said, give the teacher a little more power in the classroom. And I agree. I saw a video today where the little boy was just cursing the teacher out. She told him to put up the phone. He didn't put up the phone. And he snatched the phone. And the teacher took the phone from him. And he got up and pitched something at the teacher across the room and started beating her. And it must have been that she could not respond. So he was just beating the dead. I was like, where does this little boy get all the strength to beat this teacher from? So the teacher have to be able to take control of her classroom. That's the only way the class is going to get better. And Stephanie said, taking the Chromebooks out of school and replace them with books. I agree, because then they're gonna have to think. We cannot have a generation that we cannot have a generation that don't think, and we're not teaching our children to think. Stephanie, I think we need to take it out, because they get everything that's destroying them from those Chromebooks, from those internets. I agree. Nola says they need to bring books back to school. Great. And taking notes. Everything does not need to be on the computer. Oh my God. And then when the mama have to use her phone, yes, Stephanie, yes. And then when the mama have to use her phone so the children could share to do their homework. And she had to do overtime so she could get enough food to buy the 3 turkey necks. That's over $10. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think another thing, when they start voting on what books should be in school and what it should come from instructors, not from the political part of the educational system. It should come from teachers that's instructing the children. Because where is the moral decay coming in? No empathy and compassion. Last night on the news, they had a bully and people just standing around videotaping it. And the child's daddy, who was being bullied, was totally upset because they allowed this big old boy to take his son and dump him in the trash can head first, and everybody was standing around laughing and videoing. Nobody helped the child. Nobody. They were entertained by that. How did we come to that kind of society? Now this child is too ashamed to even go to school. And then it was all over the internet because everybody had their phones videotaping it. Get teachers that want to teach our children. Let me tell you something, Stephanie. I'm going to say something about that. Everybody not right. I'm a nurse. There's some nurses, look, cause somebody dial 911 if something go wrong, cause I don't know about them. Okay, so I'm not saying every teacher is perfect, but teachers are worn out. Teachers are worn out. When I was volunteering in the public school system, the vice principal called the mama because the child was fighting. The first thing the mama said, let me see the video. For real, mama? People want to teach, but a friend of mine got expelled from Clayton County school as a teacher because the children used to fight every day. And they accused her of watching them fight and doing nothing. She would sit at the desk and say, sit down, be quiet, sit down, be quiet. Press that button. And then she would press the button for help, scream and sit down, be quiet every single day. Do you know what would have happened to her if she would have went there and touched one of those children and tried to make them stop fighting? Or if she would have went to help them stop fighting and then they would have beat her up? We have them in a no-win situation. And Henrietta, I think you're right. Parents need to help these teachers. Stop disrespecting teachers. Stop disrespecting adults. And NOLA said, pay our teachers a reasonable wage and stop having people who never been in the classroom make the rules. I agree. I agree, NOLA. I agree. I agree. And when I'm out, I'm going to be doing some videos. I'm going to take all of your responses, and that's why I want responses. And I'm going to break it up in each subject. Finances, what do you think? How do you think we build our nation morally again? That we have ethical values and principles again? That children just can't watch somebody dump somebody in the trash can. Everybody not going out with guns and just shooting. Where do we start? Where do we start with building moral values again? Becoming a moral nation. Where do we start with that? I know everybody talking about the clothes and the sex, but guess what? All of this stuff came way before the no clothes and the sex. You had to have a certain mindset. So how do we become a moral people again? And I'm going to say, I think that Bible study on Wednesday night, I'm telling you, because when I was a Bible school teacher on Wednesday nights, I taught Sunday school on Sundays. And I think that our children are able to make, wait a minute. My daughter Jasmine I think is about 15, said that she would more teachers that are more helpful. So Jasmine, how old is Jasmine Stephanie? She want more teachers that's more helpful. So how old is Jasmine Stephanie? Okay. So I want to also ask Jasmine if we can, what's the conduct like in the class? Jasmine is 15. Thank you. So, Stephanie, well, let me go back. Teachers are very important. Henrietta said teachers are very important. Now teachers don't want to be in the classrooms anymore, and that is why the Chromebook is taking the place. Right, I don't want to get beat up either, but Okay, so Stephanie, your baby 15. Exactly. Exactly. Teachers don't want to be there. People don't want to get cursed out. And I just want to know, can she tell me about how many people are in the class? Is it a specific class that she don't get the help, or is it generalized? Because sometimes when we don't have books and we don't have structure and we're not making um, a planning book every week, we had to make planning books every week. She said that there are too many kids in the class. And when we have so many kids in the class, and then we have a few that's not disciplined. Look, my grandson be ready to fight in the class because the children too loud and he want to learn. So Jasmine, I understand that. So for all the parents on this line, please help the teachers out. Look, when I was in school, you didn't want the teacher to call your parent to tell him you was bad. So do like Henrietta say, if the teacher call you, if you have anything negative to say for the student, to the teacher, don't say it in front of the student, because you're giving your child all the power in the world over that teacher. She said all the teachers do now is yell at them. That's what Jazz said. In the class, the teachers just yell. Look, we're gonna have to get some volunteers in the school again. To volunteer in the school, you have to have a background check. But you can't, I think one of the rules should be when we get some volunteers in the classroom to help support the teacher. And that is, you can't be in your child's class. Henrietta said, exactly, don't say it in front of the child, because if you say it in front of the child, that makes it worse. That strips the teacher of all the power, because that child's gonna think, and then all the other children are gonna think that they can just tell that teacher anything and mama gonna come get the teacher. So I think if we could divide the children up in sections, and we have like 2 or 3, separate the troublemakers so they're not together empowering one another, and have volunteers in the class. And Henrietta's explaining to Stephanie that the teachers are stressed and they don't have any real support. They don't have any real support. And so many of them are leaving. So many of them are leaving teaching. So we have to get the discipline for these children under control. We have to. Don't let your child go mouthing off at you. Because if your child is mouthing off at you, yeah, be mad like Nola said. We have to not be afraid of offending people. But if your child is mouthing off at you, then your child is mouthing off at the class. And if you think your child should be able to sit back and talk to you 55 minutes about what is that teacher with all those children, how they gonna sit down and do that? Stephanie said the teachers are, Henrietta said that. Stephanie said, you're right. You're right, Henrietta. And you're right. And how many teachers we gonna lose? People don't want to be teachers no more. I remember, and this was about 20 years ago, I had stopped nursing for about 4 years. I went to teach. And the little children, they were so far behind, fifth grade, till I came in the morning. I stayed in that lunch period when I didn't have yard duty, and I stayed after school. One little girl, she couldn't even read. Her mama complained about I shouldn't take their recess. She can't stay after school. That's punishing her. She's not getting up early in the morning, bringing her to school. Little girl couldn't read. I promise you. The little girl brought a brush to school. I said, "Do not comb your hair in the class." So she pulled out the brush after I done told her 50 times, "Don't pull a brush out." I snatched the brush and threw it in the trash can. I got it out because I was going to give it to her at the end of the year. She went home and told her mom. You know her mama showed up at school the next day, wanting to fight me. For real. And those teachers still have those student loans, y'all, in it. They don't make enough money. They still have the student loans they're paying. And they're on a miserable job they will never be able to stay until retirement if we don't get our hands on things. And for finances, I would say that we're going to have to learn how to be a community again. Our grandmothers, off of pennies, bought land and property. We're going to have to learn how to make sacrifices, half of the stuff that we're putting ourselves out for. I talked to one of the guys at work today, and he said, "You want to know what's the problem? If the parent could buy a book or a pair of fancy tennis shoes, which one do you think the parent gonna buy?" Let's start libraries in our homes again. I think libraries in our homes again, and have family reading time. Where we take the cell phone and all electronics during our reading time. We read on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 8:30. And everybody read. And then we could sit together and discuss our book twice a week. Because all of that poison the internet is shoving in our children's subconscious. Our subconscious will keep us focused on everything that's dumped in there, all the poison, and they can never concentrate to win where they're going. The minds are having spider webs where they can't think. And the books are cheaper than Chrome. The Chromebook thing is cheaper. So that's some money we could save. Everybody don't have to have a television in their room. That lives in their own room, so they're not social, so they don't know how to be social. Every child don't need their own room, and then they need to learn how to share, and they don't need a television in every room. Television in every room, light on in every room, all of that's money going down the drain. Lights on in the middle of the day, all the lights on in the middle of the day. Look, I didn't learn about turning your lights off in the middle of the day until my daughter grew up and got her house and with her children. Turn those lights on. Open that curtain. Let the sun shine in here. This whole country lives above its means. And everybody's just focusing on how much money I'm going to have. And it's not working. So, we have any money suggestions? We have any finance suggestions? We have any morality suggestions? Well, I'm not going to start on the fourth thing because it's 10 o'clock. But it's political corruption. So all I'm going to say about political corruption is we have to stop fussing about what the people doing all day. Keisha Williams said, most kids are being raised by young adults that was raised by young adults. And that's the biggest problem. Just imagine a 19 or 20-year-old child trying to raise a child. And that's because it's different. It's different from, I think, Keisha, some of that is disciplining our children. Because, look, I was talking about a young boy and then I cut it off. I didn't finish the story. 17 years old, he's talking about his baby. The 18-year-old is pregnant and she want to know when you're going to get a job. When we were 17 and 18 getting babies, we had to get married. When I was 18, I had my own apartment, paying my own rent. But I think the problem became when you're right, when you spoil children. Henrietta said children are raising children. Absolutely. When these spoiled children had children and everything about it is so rotten. It's so spoiled. And then when things don't go right, people try to buy their children stuff to make up for that. No, it is what it is. We have to become it is what it is time again too. And Keisha, you're right. I'm glad y'all brought that up, Henrietta, because that's probably the people come and want to fight the teacher about, and their child was wrong the whole time. So maybe we could start some Saturday school parenting classes for those who would pay attention with, how to correct your child, how to set boundaries. I think that could help that situation. Exactly, yes. Keisha, I'm going to get in touch with you because I had this educational system I had developed, and I took 20, Stephanie too, me, Keisha, Stephanie, we're going to work on this. I solicited $50 per person, and we would rent the library that's almost free. And we would have different classes for different things. And a lot of it was going by the hotels, where the people were living in the hotels, because a lot of those parents were on drugs. So every Saturday it was something different and it was sponsored. So we can do that. And it would have to be after October though. We can do that. And we can solicit in the meantime while I'm writing this letter. When I go to Essence next week, I'm going to be asking these same questions. We're going to put it all online. I get to save these answers, and we're gonna solicit financial support for these classes from the politicians. Because if you look at politicians when you're on a local level, they're operating in the black. When you're on the state level, I don't know how many millions of dollars the state is. We operating in the black. So they have money. Local government, but we ignore it. We only talk about the president. But local government have money to support such a thing. So we're gonna write up a proposal. We're gonna get together. And good idea, Keisha. Let's make some solutions here. And we're gonna become a voice that spreads across the nation for Saturday schools, for parenting classes. And when we get into money, we can even get other monies that parents, the court system, teaching, helping people get their children back in the court system that those parents don't have no clue. We're going to do that. Yes, Keisha? You and Stephanie? Me, you, and Keisha? And we can start teaching these parents how to be parents and how to set boundaries. And probably, reading what y'all saying, probably, I came from a whole nother era. So those parents knew no boundaries, so they could teach no boundaries. Keisha Stephanie says I already have the system all set up, all rolled up. We can just, advance it, put y'all part in it. And so maybe I've gotten some wisdom too. We could just grow up the system that we have and reach out. But we're going to do this for the future of our children. So we're going to have to talk again about the political corruptions. We'll have to add that again. Because the worst thing about politics is, thank you, Keisha, the worst thing about politics is it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing across the world. It's embarrassing. But it's after 10, and we have to go to work in the morning. Good conversation. Thank y'all for y'all participation. And we're going to have to come back again. But next week is going to be, it's gonna be not live. It's going to be pre-recorded. And it's going to be Scott Gibson. So we'll be looking forward to y'all next week. And thank you. We're going to have some more conversations where we can participate and build the world, build our world. Thank you so much for tonight, y'all. See you next week.